I wouldn't display that. My father said it casually, like he was commenting on the weather. My hands froze around the blanket. I mean, look at it, he added. She's just a lunch lady. What's the point of something like this? A few people laughed, soft, polite, but I heard it. My mother smiled beside him, not shocked, not uncomfortable, just agreeing. My sister Emily didn't say anything. She just adjusted the gift table, moved my blanket slightly, to the back, like it didn't belong in front. My name is Ava Carter. I'm 32 years old, and I spent 8 months making that blanket. Every square stitched by hand, old baby clothes, family fabrics, pieces of memories I had saved for years, for her, for this moment. I stood there holding the edge of it, smiling. Because that's what I always did. Made things easier, quieter, smaller. It's thoughtful, Emily said finally, not looking at me. Yeah, my father added. Very creative. Creative. Like it was a hobby. Not time, not effort, not love. I nodded once, carefully folded the edge back into place, then stepped away from the table. Because something inside me had already shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. Enough to understand this wasn't about the blanket. It never was. That night I went home, didn't cry, didn't call anyone. I just sat there in silence, until my phone rang the next morning. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me not to. Hello? A pause, then a calm voice said, Miss Carter, you need to come in today. Who is this? I asked. There was a small pause. My name is Daniel Reeves, he said. I'm your attorney. Attorney? I sat up straighter. I don't have an attorney, I said. You do now, he replied calmly, and there are documents you need to review. My fingers tightened around the phone. What kind of documents? Something that was left to you, he said. I'd rather not discuss details over the phone. Left to me, that didn't make sense. From who? Another pause. Longer this time. Your grandmother. My breath caught. My grandmother passed away 3 years ago. Yes, he said quietly. And some things were delayed. Delayed. I didn't like the sound of that. What kind of things? I asked again. Ms. Carter, he said gently, I strongly recommend you come in today. Silence. Then, all right, I said. Send me the address. I already have a car on the way. That made me pause. You what? It should be outside in 5 minutes. I looked toward the window. A black car was already pulling up. My chest tightened slightly. Is this really necessary? I asked. Yes. No hesitation. Just that. I ended the call slowly, sat there for a second, then stood up, because something about his tone, calm, controlled, told me this wasn't small, and whatever had been delayed was about to change everything. The office didn't look like anything I expected. No bright signs, no busy waiting room, just quiet, polished floors, soft lighting, and a receptionist who already knew my name. Miss Carter, she said, Mr. Reeves is waiting. Of course he was. I followed her down a hallway that felt too expensive to belong to someone like me. Lunch lady, the word echoed in my head, still fresh, still sitting there. He stood when I walked in, mid-40s, clean suit, calm eyes. Ms. Carter, he said, offering his hand. Thank you for coming. I shook it. Let's skip the formalities, I said. What is this about? He didn't seem offended, just nodded, then slid a file across the desk. Thick, organized, heavy. This was left in your name, he said. I opened it slowly, page after page, legal language, property records, financial statements. I didn't understand half of it, until I saw one number, then another, then the total. My breath caught. This isn't right, I whispered. It is, he said calmly. I looked up at him. Are you telling me? Yes. No hesitation, no build-up, just truth. Your grandmother transferred everything to you. Everything. The word didn't feel real because I knew what everything meant. My parents had talked about it for years. The house, the land, The business. All of it. My hands started to shake. She told everyone it was going to my father, I said. Mr. Reeves held my gaze. She changed her mind. Silence filled the room. And suddenly, my father's voice from yesterday felt different. Not just cruel, but wrong. I sat there for a long moment, just staring at the papers, trying to match them with the version of my life I knew. It didn't fit. Not even close. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked quietly. Mr. Reeves didn't answer right away. Instead, he opened another folder, smaller, thinner, more personal. She left something else, he said. I looked up. What? A letter. My chest tightened. For you, he added. He slid it across the desk, different from the others. No legal language, just handwriting. Familiar. I knew it instantly. My grandmother's. My fingers trembled slightly as I opened it. The paper was soft from being folded too long. I read the first line, and everything else disappeared. Ava, if you're reading this, it means they didn't tell you the truth. My throat tightened. I kept reading. I trusted your father once. I thought he would take care of what I built. But I was wrong. I stopped. Looked up. Mr. Reeves was watching me carefully. Keep going, he said gently. I looked back down. You were the only one who showed up. The only one who stayed. The only one who saw me when I was still here. My vision blurred, because suddenly, this wasn't about money or property. It was about something I hadn't realized until now. She had seen me when no one else did, and she remembered. I read the rest of the letter slowly. Every word felt deliberate, like she had been waiting years to say it. They will try to tell you this was a mistake. It wasn't. My grip tightened on the paper. I gave it to you because you understand what it means to stay when it's not easy. I closed my eyes for a second, because I remembered hospital visits, long afternoons, quiet conversations no one else had time for. I thought I was just being present. I didn't know she was watching. Ava, this isn't just an inheritance. It's a responsibility. My chest felt heavier now. Not overwhelmed, just aware. The house, the business, the land, they were built with care. Don't let anyone reduce them to numbers. I exhaled slowly, because I knew exactly who she meant. My father, my mother, the same people who smiled yesterday, while I stood there holding something they didn't value. And one more thing. The letter ended. Do not let them make you feel small again. Silence filled the office. I folded the letter carefully, placed it back in the envelope. Mr. Reeves didn't rush me. Do you understand what this means? He asked. I nodded once. Yes, but my voice was different now, quieter, stronger, because this wasn't just about what I had been given. It was about what I had allowed, and what I wouldn't allow anymore. I stood up slowly. What happens next? I asked. He met my gaze. That depends on you. I didn't go home right away. I drove past it, past the street I'd lived on for years, past the same house where I had learned to stay quiet. Instead, I told the driver to keep going. Where to, Miss Carter? He asked. I looked down at the file in my lap, then at the address on the top page. My grandmother's house, I said. We arrived 20 minutes later. The gate opened before the car even stopped. Someone had been expecting me. Of course they had. The house looked exactly how I remembered. White walls, wide porch, old trees lining the driveway. Nothing had changed, except everything had. A woman stepped outside as I got out of the car, mid-50s, professional, composed. Ms. Carter, she said. I'm Evelyn. I manage the estate. Estate. The word still felt strange. Can I see inside? I asked. Of course. She led me through the front door. The air felt familiar, like time had paused here. The furniture was the same. The photos were still on the walls. My grandmother's presence hadn't faded. It had been preserved. She wanted it kept this way, Evelyn said softly. I nodded, then walked slowly through each room, touching things I hadn't seen in years, remembering things no one else cared to remember, until I reached the office. The one room no one ever let me enter as a child. The door was already open, waiting. I stepped inside, and that's when I saw it. A second file, placed neatly on the desk, with my name on it, and beneath it, one word: proof. I didn't touch it right away. The word sat there, proof, simple, but heavy. Evelyn stayed near the door, silent, like she already knew what was inside. I stepped closer, picked up the file, opened it slowly. The first page, bank statements, transfers, large ones, repeated. My eyes moved down the list. Dates, amounts, accounts, then names. My father's name. My chest tightened. I flipped to the next page. Loan documents, signatures, again, his, then emails, printed, highlighted. I read the first one. We'll handle the paperwork. She doesn't need to know. My breath caught. The next one. Once everything transfers, we move forward as planned. Planned. I kept going, page after page, every piece fitting together, not confusion, not misunderstanding. This wasn't about forgetting. This was about hiding, deliberate, careful, complete. They knew, I said quietly. Evelyn nodded once. Yes. I looked up at her. They knew she changed it. Yes. And they never told me. No. Silence filled the room, but it didn't feel empty. It felt clear, like something had finally snapped into place. I looked back down at the file, at the signatures, at the dates, at the lies, and suddenly, yesterday made sense. The blanket, the comments, the way my father dismissed me. It wasn't just disrespect. It was strategy, because if I stayed small, I would never question anything. I closed the file slowly. Does my attorney have copies of this? I asked. Yes. I nodded. Good. Because now, this wasn't just about what I was given. It was about what was taken. And I finally had something I didn't have before. Not doubt. Not emotion. Proof. I didn't go back to the baby shower. I went home, sat at my kitchen table, the same one where I had stitched that blanket, piece by piece, 8 months, every thread, placed with care. I ran my hand over the fabric, then picked up my phone, called Mr. Reeves. I'm ready, I said. He didn't ask what that meant. Good, he replied. I'll begin the process. The next morning, I invited my parents over. Same house, same table, nothing different, except me. My mother walked in smiling. My father looked around like he always did, measuring, judging. About yesterday, my mother started. I didn't let her finish. I placed the file on the table, slowly, carefully. My father's eyes narrowed. What is this? Truth, I said. He opened it, read the first page, then the second. His face didn't fall. It tightened. My mother leaned in, confusion turning into something sharper. Fear. You knew, I said quietly. No anger, no raised voice, just certainty. My father looked up, cold. We were protecting the family. I held his gaze. No, I said. You were protecting control. Silence. Heavy. Final. My mother's voice shook. Ava, we can fix this. You can't, I said gently, because this wasn't about apology anymore. It was about consequences. I'm moving forward legally, I continued. My father stood up. You wouldn't dare. I met his eyes. Without hesitation. I already did. I picked up the blanket, folded it once, then placed it back on the table. Not as a gift, but as a reminder. Because this time, they didn't get to decide my value, and they didn't get to rewrite the truth.